So now that we have our tire treads on, we're going to go ahead and apply materials and lighting to the scene. And we'll do so by going under Window, Render Editors, and grabbing the Hypershade. And with this open here, let's start off by selecting a material for the card itself. We'll want sort of a painted material. And Maya has shaders that do that, but Mental Ray has some really nice sort of pre-designed car paint shaders that work very well. So we can use this one right here. We'll middle mouse, drag and drop this onto the car, as well as the canopy. We'll make that the same color. And I'm not going to leave it this bright red color. I'm going to double click on the shader here. It's going to open up the attributes for that. And the base color is what we're seeing right now. The lit color doesn't really show up until we take a render with lights in our scene. So let's first affect the base color. I want to kind of keep that in that sort of pearly light color range, something like that. And for the lit color, I might do something a little more the green range, as though it's sort of being affected by the greens of the environment. Okay, with that selected, that looks pretty good. Let's drop in a few more things here before we actually start rendering. I'm going to select all 4 of the posts here, and I'm going to assign the existing MIA Chrome material to those. And for the dashboard, I'm going to select the dashboard, steering wheel, and column, and assign them a material. We'll go ahead and use a blend. And we will just bring that down to sort of a dark color, maybe sort of in even like a blue range. So that might be a little dark for our scene here. Let's brighten that up a little bit. Okay, and I might go ahead and let's name this first here. We'll just call that Black Plastic Blend. And I'm going to actually drag and drop the middle mouse button on the base of the seat here. I think all of those could be sort of a black plastic color. And now for the seat, I'm going to select top and bottom, assign a new material, grab that, and we'll call that Seat Blend. And I'm going to make that sort of, push that sort of into the blue range as well. Bluish gray, maybe a little bit brighter. Something along that line. And I'm going to come down here, and first of all I'm going to take the reflectivity down quite a bit. It defaults at 0.5. That's highly reflective for a material like this, so I think something like 0.05 will work fine. I'm going to bring down the specularity as well to 0.3. Same thing with the black plastic. Let's bring that down to maybe 0.1. You could have a little bit more reflectivity to it, and bring the specularity down as well to 0.325. I'm going to grab the planks running horizontal first, middle mouse, assign new material, use a blend as well. We're going to call this Wood Blend 1, and we'll bring down the reflectivity as well to maybe 0.07. Specularity down again. And for the color, we're actually going to come back in here, and Maya has both 2D and 3D textures. I was actually going to use something like mountain, but I think under the 3D there is a wood one. We can try this one out. Sometimes it looks a little cheesy and it takes a little while to sort of noodle with. You can see it right there coming on. If you are not seeing the the materials showing up. You're probably in 5, just shaded mode. If you select 6 on your keyboard, you will see the materials. 7, you will see the lighting once we have lights in there. And I'm going to kind of dull out this wood a little bit. I think it's just a little too bright. Bring down the saturation, make it a little bit more weathered. Been out on the golf course a lot. Same thing here with the vein color, bringing that down, and the grain color as well. Okay. Now let's select the vertical posts here. One more. And I might go ahead and apply a different material to these altogether and not have them look like wood at all. I'm just, I selected this here to kind of rearrange them. It's getting a little messy in here with all of our different shaders. So coming back here, I lost my selection when I did that. I'm thinking just making them just sort of a metal post or something, and selecting a new material. Go with blend and bringing the color down, something kind of dark. That might be a little too dark. Let's brighten that up a bit. Take out some saturation, maybe push it over into the warm side. Okay, you can see that there. And then each one of the bolts, we're also going to have to apply material on there. Chrome might be a little bit of an overkill, but we already have the chrome available to us. I'm going to open up the outliner, and I think they are all sort of grouped separately. I've got one group here that I've selected, so I'm going to assign the existing MIA chrome to those. Come over here, and under this group, there's my bolt group. I think that's on the opposite side there. There they are. Chrome as well. And let's find these. They're here. So I'm going to assign chrome to there, as well as this group right here. And that should take care of all of the bolts. Okay, so now that we have that, let's take a quick render. But before we do, we actually need to come in here and make sure that we are using Mental Ray. We have Mental Ray shaders on our model here, and they will render out as black, actually invisible, if we don't use Mental Ray to render that with. And let's go ahead and set up some of the other render settings. So under Indirect Lighting, if you click on that tab, it takes a moment to open up. We're going to select Final Gather. Under Quality, we're going to select Box, which is already on, and turn Jitter on. This will clean up any kind of artifacts that we might have in the shadow areas. And that should be good. So the success of using Final Gather really involves having an environment that has something to reflect off of it, some type of indirect lighting off of those, either a dome or a ground plane, none of which we have set in our scene right now. So if we take a render right now, we're really not going to see too much. Until we put a ground plane in here, we're really not going to see what Final Gather is doing. So let's go ahead and drop in a ground plane. Under Create, Polygon Primitives, Plane. If we go into wireframe mode, we can see it right there. And scale that up to something like that. You can even come under the channel box editor and just maybe round it off at 100. And we'll right mouse click and we're going to assign material. And we're going to use something called use background. And what this does is it's going to render out the same color that we set our background color to. And right now our background color is currently black. We're also going to have to move our card up here in a moment. But first let's set the background color under the camera attributes. That's this icon right here, the second one over. If we come down perspective shape, we'll see environment. And there's the default black. Let's lighten it up quite a bit to sort of a middle gray color. And let's go ahead and grab from the side view, let's grab the entire cart and deselect the ground plane. Let's group that cart, so Control G. We've grouped it now. Edit, delete by type history, just to clean it up. And select W, and we're going to move the entire cart up. So the tires, the bottom of the tires are resting on that origin. And then coming back to our perspective, let's move in here and set up our camera so we see the whole object, have a nice sort of 3/4 view on it. And come under here and let's render it, and let's see how Final Gather is working for us now. So this is looking much better. We've got a lot of reflectivity here on the ground plane that we can minimize. But you can see reflections here. We got some nice soft shadows underneath. And the next thing we're going to do is work on the headlights, adding both light and material to them to make them glow and have a little bit of a fog fall off from them. And we'll do that in the next lesson.